1960 Olympic mini combo Oriental cabinet television AM/FM radio. Remember this set? If you didn't catch video number 1, I'll include a link in the description below the video. So today I want to resurrect the television portion, not restore. We're going to just do the bare minimum to get it working. Take another quick look, reintroduction to this set. I picked it up in Compton, California. Got the schematic here, the Sam's Photo Fact, 1960 Olympic JB chassis. Got a record player here that is trashed. The lady who owned this had rabbits, and you'll see the damage. Here's the AM/FM. It has 2 6x9 speakers. There's the television set portion. Today we're going to try and get this to work, try and get a picture on it. Olympic dual stereo. High fidelity custom. In the first video we tested the picture tube and it's okay, so it's worth proceeding with the resurrection. So look at the back, you can see where the rabbits and cats got into it and trashed the wiring. So pretty much all the wiring to the AM/FM tuner part's been terminated. Compton, California, Harry's Mobile TV. Kind of a look at the whole thing. So let's get into it. Let's try and get this TV to work. We'll resurrect the AM/FM radio in the next video. Want to take a second here and talk about truth over facts. You know, the condition of this cabinet is poor at best. I've seen these Oriental style cabinets in beautiful condition, and this is definitely not one of them. So in a dream, this will probably end up becoming a cat bed or a liquor cabinet for somebody who wants to take the time to fix it up. Even though Olympic is kind of a rare television brand, getting someone to adopt this is going to be practically impossible. That's why we're just going to resurrect it, which of course restore, a proper restoration would indicate that or suggest that you're going to bring it into your house and you're going to use it on a regular basis, and you want it to be reliable. Well, at that point, at that stage, if that was your goal, you would definitely want to change all the capacitors, test all the tubes, do an alignment, you know, whatever you would need to do in order to make it safe and reliable. We're not going to do that. We're just going to try and get it to work, because it's most likely going to end up in the large collection bin. So we really want to start out with a good visual inspection. And one thing I'm going to have to do for sure is figure out where the audio comes out of this set. So that right there is probably the audio output transformer, and pull off of that into a speaker, because I think all of the wiring is terminated. Like, what's that wire laying? Is it? No, that's grounded to the chassis. That's the CRT ground. So in number 1, in video 1, we discovered the CRT has been changed. It's got the junkyard writing on it there, and it's got this bridge. It's very dusty, which I don't care about that. I'm not one of these clean freaks that cares about blowing it off and cleaning it. We got our dead spider right there. And we have a bunch of paper filters, which we're going to try and reform those, but I have a feeling. One thing I am going to do is I'm going to go through and try and properly power this thing up. But those, all those paper capacitors, those tend to dry out a little bit faster than the electrolytic cans. This doesn't use it. This doesn't have any cans. So let me look at this for a while. If I see anything else, I'll bring it up. Okay, so this looks like the speaker connector right here, an RCA plug. So that's kind of nice because that comes over. I'm sure it's chewed in half over in here somewhere. The flyback looks dusty but not melted. Yeah, those cardboard tube capacitors, those concern me. But if they're bad, we'll sub something in there to get it to work. Also, looking at the SAMs, I think this thing is loaded with paper capacitors back behind the chassis, which can be very problematic. You can always take a look at one of your photo facts and get an idea of what you're looking at. And of course here, these are the, this thing is just loaded with paper capacitors. Look at that. Paper capacitors, there's a pyramid and black beauties. Just loaded with paper capacitors. Here's my box of goodies that I've come up with for resurrecting these black and white sets. So we have a solid state 5U4 replacement. We have, what is this, 6DQ6, 6AX4, solid state 6AX4 that I made out of 2 microwave oven diodes, which seems to work very good. And then I have 6SN7, 6BQ, and I have a adapter I made here to go from 6AQ5 to 6BQ6. And then we have our cathode current test device here. This is a 6GB5 to 6BQ6, 6DQ6 adapter. So this is a heavy duty tube. If you have a TV you're trying to troubleshoot, this tube will take a ton of abuse over the regular ones. Okay, we got our solid state 5U4. We're just going to set that right here within reach. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get this sucker out of here. And I think I need 2 hands for this because it's got locking tabs. You can always start by inspecting the 5U4 and possibly testing it. This one does look high hour or burned up because this will often act as a fuse in the event that someone just plugs it in and turns it on with shorted capacitors or something. Okay, and then we're going to get this out, the horizontal output. You always want to be very gentle pulling these caps off because you'll pull it right off the top of the tube. In fact, it looks like what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the tube out and leave it. These things are old, so we're going to just get that out of there. Then we're going to come around to the front of the telly. We're going to try and find the power switch on volume. Okay, so it looks like pulling it out turns it on. All right, then we got our variac and our dim bulb. And just so we're approved, this is an actual variac branded variac. General Radio Company. So Power's on, 2 tubes are out. I think that's a 200-watt bulb. Now, if this was a series string set, it would be nice because you could just pull one tube out, and all you would have is the load of shorted electrolytics or whatever. You shouldn't have any load. Here we go. Huh? So I guess you have to leave that up like that, huh? Light bulb is not doing anything. Okay, I'm at 120 volts and the light bulb's not doing anything. Alright. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to short this. And did I even... Yeah, it's plugged on there. Huh. Blown fuse, maybe? I'm going to short this and see if the light comes on. Yes, the light comes on, so obviously we have an open in the TV. I think the power switch there looks a little bit malarkey-croculated. Maybe I'll... Does that have 3 terminals on it or 2? Okay, that has 3 terminals on it. Gotta figure that out. Well, looking here, there's not a whole bunch to this. Of course, I think there's probably a modification for the combo unit. So, wow, there's no fuse on the primary at all on this thing. I guess if something shorts out, like that filter capacitor right there, I guess if that was to short out, if the 5U4 didn't go open, it would just blow the power transformer apart. I do see a fuse right here, but this is 1/2 amp. And that would probably be for the horizontal output cathode. But I don't see it here. I don't see a... Oh, maybe I do. It's right here. B, which goes to the damper. Yeah, so that's not going to cause the problem we have here. It looks like it's either going to be the power switch or an open power transformer. Okay, I'm being a complete moron here. The light bulb, the 200-watt light bulb is just not lighting up because I don't have... See the filament getting hot there? The filaments just don't draw enough power to light the light bulb up. So what I'm going to do now, since we know that's working, and I did bypass the power switch. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to remove this. Bring this back up. 90 volts. Okay, the power switch is working. I'm just being stupid. Alright, so we're going to turn this down, then we're going to plug this in. What this is going to do is this is going to give us B+. That should give us enough to light the light bulb up. Stupid locking. Alright, here we go. $60 volts. See, we're drawing current now. 60 volts, the light's just barely on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let it sit there for a while. I added the meter on to watch the actual B+. And you can see the light bulb's gone out and it's still creeping up. So we are definitely reforming capacitors here, which is kind of good because that would suggest that they're not open. So I'm going to let this sit for a little while longer where it's 60 volts on the variac, plus we have the light bulb lowering the voltage even more. We really don't want to exceed 265 volts. Might be able to go up a little higher than that, but the solid state is so much more efficient than the tube. It'll just really, even without a load, it'll run it up even higher. So I'm going to just, you can see this continues to come up. I'm going to just let it sit for a while. And the advantage of using the solid state for reforming capacitors versus the tube is you have to put enough voltage onto the tube in order to get the filaments to light off. Where with the solid state, as soon as you start putting 1 volt into that transformer, you're conducting and reforming the capacitors. So the tube, yeah, is not nearly as good as solid state for reforming. It's still coming up 180 volts and climbing. Seems like it's sort of stabilized at 192 volts. I'm going to go down on my light bulb size because I like the idea of having the resistance of the light bulb riding the current. You can see going to that light bulb dropped it to 144. Okay, I'm going to come up on the variac. So we were at 190 something. See the light bulb starting to come on now. 90 volts on the variac. What we're going to do is we're going to come up higher here. And now I'm going to let as the tubes start conducting, it's loading it down. I need to come up a little bit higher. God, I'm at 130 volts on the variac now. I'm almost wide open. I'm just letting the light bulb ride it. Alright, I'm wide open on the variac. 140 volts or something. I'm just going to let the light bulb ride it for a while and see what it does here. That might have been a mistake. I'm making a lot of mistakes in this one. Maybe I should go back and edit all my mistakes out, clean it up, make it look like a professional, make it look like I'm a professional TV resurrector. Okay, safety first. I got a speaker here. Let's see what we get. We get nothing. Oh, there's a little hum there. Very little. I think the capacitors are still reforming. If we get any activity. Need to get a pair of vice grips on this. That's the appropriate tool for that, right? Okay. Dial this right in. Full Compton. Oh yeah. Just put the drill on this and clean it up good. So I wonder what is this? Is this fine tuning? We're still low on B+. We still have capacitors reforming. I'm gonna go back to the bigger bulb here. You can see there's capacitors there because look at them holding a charge. So they're not open. I think we're actually going to get to experience the scent of burning rabbit fur on this one. Okay. Let's come up to... need like a variable light bulb too. Bring it up to 250. Now let the tube seat up here. I'm at 90 volts on the Variac. Let me put it there and let it reform for a minute. That's 260. That's about our maximum B+. I don't want to go much over that. So we're good on the capacitors because the light's not coming on at all now, you can see. So we definitely had capacitors that needed to be reformed. I'm still creeping up on the Variac. I'm at about 100 volts. Ooh. That's good. We have waterfall noise. Okay, I'm at 120 volts on the Variac minus the light bulb. 287 on the B+, but I don't have the horizontal output tube in. Okay, let's see what happens here. I'm going to just do this while it's hot. Okay, there we go. Okay, here we go. Ooh, what was that? Supposed to be 100 milliamps here maximum. And now I'm low on B+ because the light bulb. I hear the vertical. I hear the vertical. So that would suggest that it has high voltage. Which it does have high voltage. It has picture. Ooh. Wow. But tuner is just horribly dirty. Tuner's like unusably dirty. Alright. That one didn't take much, did it? I'm gonna get this out of here and go back to the tube. Alright, I'm back to the tube. That tube might be cream puffed. I don't know. We're gonna find out right now. Nope, the tube is not cream puffed. So let's do this. Let's come down to 120 volts here. A little bit under 120, then we'll bypass the bulb. So we're right on 100 milliamps cathode current, which is, they say 105. Got vertical issues. Look at the gap there. Okay. So we've successfully reformed the capacitors. It's working. The person, I believe they said they turned it on and it didn't do anything, but what it's doing right now could be interpreted as not doing anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of all this, and we'll move on to the second stage. I get rid of the dim bulb. We don't need that. I get rid of the variac. We don't need that. I get rid of the cathode current tester. We don't need that. I went to my 6AU5 because that tube right there is strong, and I have an absolute ton of 6AU5 tubes, and if I burn that up, I don't really care. It's not nearly as robust of a tube as that one, but its décolleté lines create a neck rash. Okay, so the next thing we got going on here is, of course, the tuner. The tuner seems to be exquisitely dirty, and the vertical deflection. So you can see it looks like we have fold over right here, and then up here, here, you can see how far apart the lines are. Now, usually that's capacitors when you get crap like this. It could also be the vertical frequency is way... Oh. But turning that causes the picture to shrink in and go away. I wonder what that is. Brightness... Tone. I wonder what this is. I wonder why that causes the picture to shrink. More bad capacitors. That's weird. I guess that's brightness. So maybe when you crank it up, it's actually blooming because I have the wrong tube in there. But you can see clearly see the fold over right there. So what other adjustments do we have here? We have, what is that, picture? So what is that, like contrast? Yeah, this is contrast. Contrast, volume, tone, brightness. Okay, where are the other controls? Oh, we have controls here too. What are these? Okay, that's obviously vertical. And yeah, that just increases the fold over. If you look at the fold over there, if I adjust the vertical, you can see it adjusts the fold over. Somebody smells burning rabbit. We do have vertical linearity and vertical height. We should try and adjust those first. But other than that, if we're going to get a semi-decent picture, assuming everything else is working, and I should try and force feed it a signal first, even if I have to bypass the tuner and go directly into the IF. Because these type of chassis are an absolute bitch to pull out and reinstall. They're not service friendly. But yeah, these capacitors like this one, this up here, these capacitors, all these ones that say 10% on them, if they're jacked up, it will not have good vertical deflection. What tube is this? 6CM7. Boy, this thing makes all kinds of cool noises. Trying to jam a signal into this thing with this. See, channel 3 will put the RF level all the way up. Going into the antenna, we'll do window circle. Full 5 volts. God, it's... There it is. I got it balanced in between 2 channels. Let's see, the horizontal's off, the vertical, where's, one of these has got to be vertical. There we go. Boy, look at that. The circle, half of it's here, half of it's here. The horizontal's like locked in the middle. And this is fine tuning, and it is working. But yeah, check that out. That is Clinky Dinkler. Okay, oh, there we go. Boy, that's a beautiful, perfect circle. That's a Joe Biden circle right there. That's just perfect. So, is working. Let's put some tone to it. Oh. It is not passing any audio. God, that's cool. Audio frequency. 1 kilohertz. Nothing. Nobody's home. What I'm trying to do is create a list of issues. That way, once I pull the chassis out, I can try and address all those issues. I think the first thing I should do is try and find the vertical hold, the vertical... We have a local distance switch there. Where are the vertical adjustments? What's going on here? It's interesting. This shows the vertical height and vertical linearity up front. Am I looking at that right? Okay, who designed this? Like, really? Is this where the... What is this, rabbit discharge? Or, oh, it's roach feces. Ew, delicious. Roach carcass. Roach carcass. Why do I work on TVs outside? They asked. So I could swear that I could see multiple pots back here. See those pots? See how there's 4 pots there? There's 4 pots there. I need a cameraman. Wow, there's the vertical size controls right there. Ooh, we got some sound now. Hear that? Okay. Wow. So you have to take off the plate, and then you have to take off the knob in order to get to the vertical hold and size control, or the vertical size and linearity. So let's see what these will do. It's interesting, this one seems to do nothing. I mean, it does something, but hardly anything. So that's a clue. This one has a great effect. Look at this one. That one has a great effect. This one has hardly any effect. Vertical hold left side, vertical linearity left side. So this is the vertical hold, so that's got to be the vertical linearity. So vertical linearity has hardly any effect. So we could have a bad tube, we could have a leaky capacitor here, we could have a bad 1 meg resistor. Airplane. Olympic. Featuring infused with roach feces. So usually when we get deflection issues at the top of the screen, I've noticed it's usually the top of the circuit. Bottom of the screen is usually the middle or the lower part of the circuit. Since we don't have a electrolytic in the cathode, I'm really looking at either that guy or that guy, since turning this control has almost no effect. And it's weird, that's attached to the vertical hold somehow, but maybe this guy is open. I don't know, but we also got a sound problem. Interesting, they call that the clarifier. That's what you adjust to get rid of the buzz usually. I'd like to try changing this tube before I pull this thing out. 6CM7, I wonder if I have one. That 6CM7 is so hot that when I touched it, the gloves started smoking instantly. Like it's red plating, which would indicate a leaky grid coupling capacitor. Okay, 6CM7, okay over 50. D7 and D8. It's not too happy. Supposed to be okay over 50, which 50 would be right up here at the top of the red. So that's one section. That's the other section. So one section of this tube has been clinko-twinkulated. But I would still rather not replace it without knowing that that capacitor is not leaking. And we could probably check that sort of in circuit. Alright, we want to take a look at pin 8 on here and see what the voltage is. Pin 8 should be negative 25 volts. If C54 is leaky, it's going to be way positive. Let's see, can it get... If we take the tube out, it should be about 0, right? Because it can't get... It's blocked. If the tube is out, it's blocked here with this capacitor. It should be completely blocked with the tube out. Yeah, maybe I should check it with the tube out. It should be 0 volts. Well, the TV's been turned off for 5 minutes and it's still positive, so that sort of suggests we have a very leaky capacitor. Let's see, here we go. Power's been applied. Yeah. 100 volts, that's a very leaky capacitor. Okay, the tube is in now. Remember, it's supposed to be negative 25 volts, and it's measuring positive 60. See, negative 25 volts. So this capacitor right here has got to be very leaky. C54. Running it during diagnostics with that leaky capacitor probably seriously faded that tube, so I'm partially at fault. Hopefully if we get this circuit working, that tube will be good enough to display a usable picture for my crepe race advertisements. Wow. Now this is what you call leak-tastic. Wow. This is a recapper's wet dream right here. And again, this thing's going to most likely end up being a dog tray, so I'm not going to recap anything but the very bare minimum. But wow, look at this. Look at the dirt. Jeez. How the hell did all that dirt get in here? I guess it fell down. The rabbits were probably living on top of it. It's like dander and hair, and no wonder why it had such an attractive odor when I fired it up. So anyway, I want to open the tuner up and spray it. Probably just going to use WD-40 because I don't want to waste anything good on this. And I'm going to find that capacitor that's leaky. I think it's that one right there. 1600 volt. I hope not. But you can be assured every single one of these is leaky. Why am I not going to change them? Because again, it's going to be a dog tray. Okay, I cut the capacitor out. It's this one right here. And I put a disc in there. And it went to negative 12 volts. I'll connect the old capacitor back in. And you'll see it goes to... goes way positive. So I have a feeling I still can't... I can pull it to the bottom now, but it's still way extended on the top, which I have a feeling that's due to another bad capacitor, not the tube necessarily. I'm going to take a second and clean the tuner. I love this string drive fine tuning. This is classy. But I'm going to spray these wafers. I'm thinking about what to do with the vertical. Look at how this thing works. Look at those little button tabs. This is a different tuner. I don't know. I've oiled that thing and tried to clean those off with as much as I could by hand. Polish those little things right there that touch the brushes that stick out. You can see the brushes down there. So hopefully that helps it. Go back to the vertical circuit and see if I can figure that out. I don't want to recap the whole vertical circuit, but it really needs it. Okay, I've pulled the tube out, and what I want to do is I want to see if there's any voltage on 7, pin 7, which would indicate that it's leaking from the plate here, which should have full voltage with the tube out, through that capacitor, and then through that capacitor, and then we'll work our way back to here. And yes, on pin 7 we have 300 volts. Okay, I got that wrong. I made another mistake. I was on pin 6, which is the plate, not pin 7. Pin 7, I got nothing here. And if I go back, this is a 1600 volt 0.01. So on one side of it, I have 564 volts. On the other side of it, which is right here, I have a half a volt. So negligible leakage there. So maybe we're looking at a bad tube now. I'm going to have to see if I can locate one. Just because those capacitors are not leaky doesn't mean they're not bad. They're infused with roach feces. Okay, according to this, there are several 6 CM7s in here, like a bunch of them. So I just gotta dig through here and find them. Okay, here's 3 of them. We'll try one of these, or 2 of them, or all 3 of them, maybe all at the same time, and see if it changes it. I'm thinking we're gonna get full deflection at the bottom, but we're still going to have trouble at the top. That's going to be a capacitor issue. Okay, the first one, same thing. Horrific linearity at the top. Not quite right. Okay, the second one is the same thing. These are the replacements. Alright, I have changed this tube with 4 other tubes, 6CM7, and I got the same exact results. Bad vertical deflection with all of them. So I'm going to assume, it's a bad word, that it's a bad capacitor. Let me think about how to handle this. I mean, the right way to do it is to totally recap it, which is not that big of a deal. But since it's going to become a humidor for puppies, I don't want to really... I cut out and replaced the 2.0047s that connect to the grid of the oscillator section. I'll show you that on the schematic. This improved it quite a bit, but it's still, the lines are spaced way too far apart at the top. But I think it's going to be watchable. These are the 2.0047s I changed. I've completely recapped the whole vertical circuit except for one electrolytic, which I'm going to check right now. That's this 10 microfarad right here. And it's supposed to be located right there, but I see someone's replaced it and done a sloppy job soldering this Sprague atom in. I pulled it out of circuit. It tests good. So it's measuring 6,000 nanofarads. So is that 6 microfarads? 1 ohm. 6,000 nanofarads. Caked with spiders and roaches. Caked. Here we have roaches. A Roach Hotel television set. Man, that is bad down in there. I mean, just caked. Anyway, I bypassed that capacitor and it made no difference. So now what I'm doing is I'm checking all the resistors. and I'm just caked with roaches. Caked. Okay, I guess I got it acceptable. Let's see if we can bring the sound in with this detector adjustment they call clarifier. After it gets hot, it starts rolling. And I don't understand that because all the capacitors have been changed. Unless it's a capacitor in the sync circuit. So I went and dug out some different 6CM7 tubes. And I was having a problem where after it warmed up, it would start rolling and I couldn't stop it. Well, apparently that was the tube. That was like every tube in this box, because these out of a different box don't do that. I don't know, maybe this tube is being overdriven in this circuit and it doesn't last. Got the converter box here. I'm going to get you on a tripod and we'll have a look. And so this is the best I can do with the vertical, and you can see it's pretty poor. And it's a real mystery to me on those vertical output tubes, which is just a dual triode, that I try about, and all I have are used ones, but I try about 6 different tubes, and this is the only one that doesn't start rolling after about a minute. So it's like all of them are gassy or have grid emissions or something. And yeah, I really need a new one before I go any further, but it's weird. Everything in the vertical circuit, all the caps have been changed. Not tested, they've all been changed. All the resistors seem good. I don't know if I'm missing something. I don't know if this is something in the sync circuit that's causing this, but there should be a lot more variability with all the vertical stuff to be able to dial in different tubes. I mean, that's the whole point, and it should be way more stable than it seems to be. But I don't know. This was a really tough one. And you can see there just how bad the damn linearity is. I mean, that is just, that's really bad. Maybe it has a shorted turn on the yoke or something. We have good, so we can adjust. So it's weird. Everything looks good except the vertical. Like the thing is really bright. I mean, it all looks good except the vertical. Oh. Okay, I'm going to try and adjust the sound coil. Very quiet. Freaking screaming rugrats in the background are louder than the TV, and they're 500 feet from here.
뒤인 28일에 우크라이나 수도 키우를 찾아 젤렌스키 대통령과도 회담합니다.
Oh yeah. My new hero.
사무총장은 양국 주 유엔 대표부를 통해
Tell you, this is frustrating right now. The crappy audio, the bad vertical. I've been working on this thing pretty much all day. This has been one of the tougher resurrections, and now having to deal with this digital TV stuff is enough to make me want to just kick the front of this thing in. And it's just garbage. This video is just garbage.
You want to see blemishes seem to disappear in seconds for a flawless complexion. You can't get this look with regular old-fashioned makeup. So to get results like this and look years younger instantly, we have big news. At Luminous, we've taken our airbrush and now made it so easy for every day. Introducing Breeze, our all-new cordless handheld 2-in-1 airbrush system that applies makeup and skincare faster and easier than anything you've ever tried before.
So what I need to do is spray paint my décolleté. Décolleté. Clecleté.
And can make your skin look rough. But with Breeze, you can go from this to this. The secret is how our premium foundations blend onto the skin with an ultra-fine mist.
Crepe-tastic.
Very little foundation is needed. Up to 10 times less makeup compared to what you're using. But you're also getting 3 times more coverage at the same time. That's maximum coverage using less makeup. It's clear. Traditional makeup can make you look older, while Breeze is specially designed for maturing skin, helping it to look smooth and so much younger. The Breeze is a game changer. 30 seconds for me to look a lot younger. It's not caked on like the regular makeup. This side looks like a professional did it, right? Yeah, it does. This side looks like I just woke up. Call or go online now to get Breeze, our all-new, most luxurious, best airbrush ever. You're not giving me your hair. It's so precise. All because this precision tip. Use this special promo code right now to get an instant 50% savings. So you can get Breeze, our all-new handheld 2-in-1 airbrush to try at home for only $19.95. And you'll even get free shipping. It's your anti-aging, moisturizing primer, concealer, and foundation.
Ooh.
All in one simple step.
Primer, sealer, and foundation.
Leaving out ingredients we don't want on our skin. Breeze is touchless, oil-free, paraben-free, never tested on animals. The cosmetics are made in the USA and it lasts up to 18 hours and works for all skin types. And with so many shades, we give you a color match guarantee. So you're guaranteed the perfect
Color
shade.
match guarantee? Is it a woman or a car?
You'll never go back. Get Breeze before time runs out and also get $72 in free full-size premium gifts. We're so confident you're going to love our all-new, best-ever 2-in-1 handheld airbrush system. We give you a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Say goodbye to sponges. Say goodbye to your foundation brush. This is the future.
Goodbye, foundation brush.
Remember, you'll be using 10 times less makeup with 3 times more coverage. Now, there is a new and exciting way to look dramatically younger with Breeze. Luminous is not available in stores. You can only get this exclusive offer here, so don't wait.
order your new cordless handheld Breeze now. Call 800-470-3107 or go to getbreeze.com. Order now.
Today, women with nighttime urinary incontinence
Ooh.
have to wake up late. Introducing the PureWake system, an innovative breakthrough system for managing female urinary incontinence at night.
Ooh, is this the vacuum pump?
Warning lab for management of moderate to severe urinary incontinence.
Hook it up and let it suck you dry.
For multiple changes at night or trips to the bathroom. Now staying dry can be one less thing to lose sleep over.
To order your PureWake system, call 800-549-5243.
These are the good
Find out why
commercials.
9 out of 10 users and caregivers would recommend the PureWake system. Call 800-549-5243 today.
Wonder if we have a shorted audio output tube. I wonder what it is.
COVID numbers are moving in the wrong direction nationwide. The average number of new infections is up 51% over the past 2 weeks. And the number of hospitalizations is now up 8% over the past week.
It's not a common audio output tube that I have. It's like 6CU5.
Take Philadelphia. Health officials lifted a mask mandate yesterday after reinstating it just 4 days before. Los Angeles, facing rising cases, will continue to require masks on mass transit.
Public transportation hubs that are indoors are places where A, there's a lot of mingling, B, they're often crowded, and C, in some of those settings, it's really hard to have adequate ventilation.
And a surge in Boston prompted the health department to
They got to bring it back before the midterms. They got to lock it down hard.
areas with low community levels, but cases are rising in 36 states, driven by the BA2 variant.
This is a time not to be reckless and to wear masks indoors, check up on your vaccination status.
Oh,
As
yes.
this current peak or wave starts to decline, then we can breathe a sigh of relief and feel more comfortable going into restaurants and bars without masks.
Dr. Peter Hotez, professor of pediatrics and molecular virology at Baylor University, has the BA2 variant on a hard watch.
The problem with that is it's one of the most transmissible COVID-19 viruses we know about.
15
So
days.
it's more transmissible than Omicron, which is more transmissible than Delta, which is more transmissible than Alpha.
Because the bow tie makes you more believable.
And some celebrated the end of mandatory masks on airplanes this week after a federal judge overruled guidance.
All right.
Health officials consider this before boarding a flight.
This is the easiest way right here to manage this crap. Just like that. I really didn't want the TV resurrection part of this to be a multi-part video, but I'm going to get to the bottom of this vertical deflection and sound issue. I don't care what it costs. I don't care how much time it takes. I'm going to get to the frickin' bottom of these problems. I want this thing to have a nice picture before it dies. So I'm going to break this video off here. This is not the end. And there's going to be a part, either you could call it 2 or 3, because there's already been an analysis introduction video of this set, which I'll link in the description below. So this could either be Resurrection Part 1, and Resurrection Part 2 is going to be getting to the bottom of the remaining issues, and then Part 3 will be the AM/FM radio part.